Which you got an intro for us this time?
What?
Where's the intro? Oh, it bounced over it. It bounced over it.
Welcome back, everybody, to another MC review. So I am joined by
Logan Wilson.
And today we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Quite the jump we made from the last movie, going from a very grounded movie to a very sci-fi.
Yeah.
We're getting into Winter Soldier was the. We're getting into some super heat bangers. The next
great line of films.
The next
rolling out here.
A lot of movies is
Also, the next
good.
4 are bangers. Okay, so what little bad do we have? I got one.
No Happy Hogan.
That's in every video, I swear.
No Happy Hogan.
No, that's gonna be in every single video that he is
10,
not
no
in.
Happy
0 out of
Hogan.
10, no Happy Hogan. See ya.
Outro.
Ronan could be a lot more interesting.
I like Ronan.
I like him. He's just not the best.
He's not like super developed. He just kind of is. But I think he's cool.
He's cool. He's just not the
cool.
most. Even when he shows up in Captain Marvel,
He's
he doesn't
blue.
have a lot more.
He's got some nice blue skin. You get to see his nice blue booty when they bring him in. You know.
That's right, you do.
Yup.
Although the guy that plays him is very good.
Yeah.
Pace, yep.
The guy that plays him is really good. He does a good acting
I
job.
think so.
Oh yeah, acting wise, he's
Yeah, he's great.
Ronan is like, I mean, he's intimidating. I think
For real.
he's intimidating. Like he
Like
does.
his
He does a
first
good.
scene in the film, he just straight up murders.
He does a good acting job with like the few scenes that he is given. So
like he's a good job of being a villain, being intimidating,
a
and showing that he's
behind the
strong.
scenes villain more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just he's not one of the most interesting compared
He's
to.
one of those one shot, not really developed, dies in the movie. Like
And then the next time that we see
oh,
him
worse
is-
Red Skull.
That's
that really. Other than that, I mean, this movie's great. Again, I can probably think of some nitpicks.
There might be some like a few
I can
nitpicks here
probably
and
think
there,
of some
but
nitpicks.
if you gotta think this
There's a
far-
couple. There's a couple scenes. Not really scenes as a whole, but just moments of dialogue maybe that kind of come across kind of corny. But I think that's kind of the point.
That's
of the film.
that's Guardians.
It's goofy.
I'll say the second Guardians of the Galaxy makes me want more Yondu in this movie, because Yondu's not in this movie near as much as he's in the second one, because he's like one of the main characters in the second one.
Right.
And I love Michael Rooker just himself. So.
Yeah,
He's very
Yondu kind
enjoyable.
of is pretty sporadic throughout this movie, but he's still a good character.
He's more just like and they have Sylvester Stallone in the second one.
That's what
They do.
No, and yeah, I love Michael Rooker, and it's weird seeing him not being really a main character in this until like the very, very end.
Right.
Yeah.
But that one scene that he has at the very end is pretty good.
Oh, sure.
With us being in the good, let's just get the big thing out of the way. This is the best soundtrack of any Marvel movie ever.
This is one of the
for
soundtracks.
sure.
This is one of the best
For
soundtracks
sure.
of any movie ever.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both like the
Both
songs,
Guardians.
both the original like soundtrack written for the film, and
And
like,
just all the super heat
all the
bangers.
super heat bangers that they pull into the film,
Oh yeah, hooked on a feeling, come and get your love.
and the
Which-
fact
which I
the
think
fact that
are-
it's like just part of like the character, like part of Star-Lord's character is really nice.
It introduces. I mean, it's Star Lord. It
Yeah.
introduces Star Lord about as
It-
perfectly as you
Star
possibly
Lord
can.
has adult Star Lord because that's another thing. It's like not really like a nitpick, but it's every time because I've seen this movie a lot. Like this is if we're talking MCU movies, I've seen the most. The top 3 are Avengers, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mhm.
Like my mom will even mention that I watch Guardians a lot, and I will tell you, almost every single time I rewatch this movie, I always skip that beginning scene.
Yeah, I mean
Not because
there's
it's
not much
bad.
to it. It's just
No,
like a minute.
I forget it's in the movie.
It's not much to it, but I think
There's
it's
nothing.
fine that
There's
way.
nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just kind of there.
I think that was a big, I don't want to say issue because I did like the second film, and we'll get to that. But
Yes.
Part of it- and I'll just speak generally here. I don't like when movies go super hard into the backstory of characters.
Like literally the second you meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that was a big issue. I didn't do the Amazing Spider-Man reviews with you, but I'll tell you right now.
well, neither
My
of you did.
issues with those films was the fact that they kind of focused on his parents a lot, his backstory. I didn't really like that. I don't vibe with that. And I think that's one of the good things about this movie is that they didn't really go too crazy on that. It's like
Yeah, but
here's the intro, here's Here it is.
He gets abducted.
He gets abducted. That's it.
Yeah, brief backstory.
Very brief.
And then they wait until the second movie to really do his
Yeah,
backstory
and they go. And I thought it was done fine.
I really like Star-Lord as a character. And he's one of my favorites.
Again, Marvel, perfect cast.
Yeah, perfect casting.
You want to talk about a journey of like when the casting was announced? A lot of people, because like you said, he was in Parks and Rec.
Right.
He's a big
He's
dude.
a chunky dude.
Fat compared to what he is.
I don't want to call him fat. I think you don't remember how he was just a little chunky.
That's why I said he was kind of like
a little chunky.
He's fat compared to this.
He's jacked.
He's
shredded.
He's shredded.
He's
still got some baby face though.
He does.
That's just Chris Pratt though.
Yeah.
But no, when you go back and watch Parks and Rec, you're like, oh my gosh, that's Chris Pratt.
Yeah, because when he was announced to be Star-Lord, everybody was like, really him? And then he posts a picture of after his workout where he looks like this in this movie, and everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, no, it doesn't take very long for these dudes to get yoked because personal trainers and steroids.
But I really love Star-Lord as a character. He's one of my he might be my favorite of the Guardians. That's just because something about him I think is just the most fun to watch. It's
mine's Rocket. It's not.
I was about to say it's between him and Rocket. It's one of those.
Mine's Rocket. It's not remotely close.
Rocket. Bradley Cooper as Rocket is.
Because you look at Bradley Cooper, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's beautiful, and then you realize he can voice act too.
Yeah, it's insane. It's a tie between Rocket and Star-Lord is my favorite, and it's hard for me to decide. But we'll see what Guardians Volume 3 does if that pushes one of them over the edge. But yeah, Gamora.
Yeah, Gamora's great. Also a great casting. She does an awesome job.
Yeah, and she had been like one of the main characters in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And she was one of the main characters in
Yeah,
Avatar.
so I guess her sliding into this sci-fi world was pretty natural.
2009 was big for her as well because she was in Star Trek. She was in Avatar. Yeah, Avatar. That was 2009. Let's see, Drax.
I adore Drax.
So great.
And yes, he only gets cornier, but the thing is, it's because he hangs out with Quill. And, and Rocket.
Yeah, right.
And
Mostly Quill though.
Mostly Quill. Like I understand, he's not as scary. It's just hilarious to me how he laughs while he's fighting. It's funny to me.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense that he would get cornier.
These wrestling dudes slide in so well as actors, and I don't know
Bautista,
why.
Dwayne Johnson, John Cena. Dave Bautista was like a WWE legend.
Yeah.
But Drax also has an interesting story with Ronan killing his family.
Right.
And having animosity towards Gamora because Gamora is associated with Ronan, but also Thanos' daughter.
Right.
So
he grows past that.
Daughter.
And it's very good development of character for
Very
him.
good development.
Groot. Also, he's fun.
He's Groot.
He is Groot. He says 4 words throughout this entire movie.
We don't have to really judge the acting here. He just
because it's Vin Diesel.
I remember the day that I found out that this was Vin Diesel. I was so messed up.
This was the first thing I ever saw him in. So when I got around to watching the Fast
and
Furious
when you
movies,
got around, I was like, wait a second.
Well, we watched them together actually.
Yeah. Dude, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
We watched the entire Fast and Furious series together.
Nebula.
Hardly here. Really.
Hardly there.
She's kind of like, what's another...
way more relevant.
More of a character in 2, more of a character in Infinity War and Endgame than she is in this one.
But she serves the purpose she needs to here. She's a very background character.
She's there.
But she gets better in all the later stuff.
Especially Infinity War and Endgame.
Another big thing for this movie is that it introduces another Infinity Stone. And actually, this movie really sets up just how important Infinity Stones are, because it goes in depth of just
right. This is kind of the first movie where it really hits you in the face. It's like, oh, so this is a thing.
Because this is the first movie that Thanos is like. Yeah. It's not the first movie he's in, but it's the first movie that you see him in
really
the actual movie itself.
He's really in it. I mean, before that, it's like,
he's actually even though he looks different than he does in Infinity War, I still think he looks good.
He still looks pretty sick in this movie.
And this is the same that he looks in Age of Ultron's.
Post-credit
scene when he says, "I'll do it myself." This is the same that he looks in that. I think he looks
good here.
The scene with him in this movie, or really just the entire plot of this movie is it's kind of just like part of Thanos' mission, so to speak.
This is the first movie.
This is the first movie
he's like
all
because
but it really hits you in this film. It's like we're building something here
because
they set it up earlier with the end of Phase 1, because Phase 1 is building towards the Avengers, and then the post-credit scene is like, oh, Thanos is a thing. And even though we've seen 2 Infinity Stones by that point, Lord of the Dark World actually did a pretty decent job setting up an Infinity Stone, setting up...
Up to this point, we've seen 4.
They
We've
had
seen 4
such
at
a
this point,
well drawn
We've
out
seen-
plan for all the way up to like Endgame, and then after that, I swear to God, they don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't.
But no, this movie kind of sets up Thanos as the overarching villain of Marvel, because you might necessarily not know at the time, but if you look back and listen to what some of the characters say, what's that guy's name? He's like Ronan's second in command. He's the guy that
The Other is his name.
Ronan's second in command.
Oh,
It's the black guy.
Korath.
Yes, he says that Thanos is the most powerful being in the universe. He says it briefly,
Yeah.
but
It's right before Ronan takes the stone.
Yeah,
for
I mean, this
himself.
movie just all over the place is setting up like, hey,
it's
here's
like
your big bad.
hey,
Yeah.
that guy, strong.
Here's your big bad. He's gonna be a problem.
He's
right here.
gonna be an issue.
We'll touch
He's
on
gonna get
Thanos
issues
a lot
later.
more as the whole character when we get to Infinity War and Endgame. Mostly Infinity War, because Infinity War, he's the main character. Sort of time, this kind of takes one of the best things about the Thor movies as well, because we're going throughout space to so many iconic landmarks in Marvel Comics, like nowhere.
The movie looks great.
I was about to bring that up. Visually,
The movie looks fantastic.
breathtaking.
The movie looks better than some of the stuff that comes out. Not even just Marvel
Right.
stuff. Some of the stuff just in period that comes
I
out.
mentioned this
Yeah.
when we were watching the movie, when we got to like half of the movie. I said, this one movie looks better than everything in Marvel Phase 4. And that's coming from me, whose favorite movie of all time is No Way Home. Visually, this movie is breathtaking.
Yeah,
this is
no.
honestly the most, one
Right.
of, if not the most pretty Marvel movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Space is cool.
Space is cool.
See,
Space is cool. You can get a lot of different visual things with space because you can.
I think
do
that's why it's
anything
because I am a
it's space.
sucker. I am a sucker for anything.
I honestly
space.
think one of the best looking Marvel movies is the new Thor movie. It's really colorful.
I think I like the movies that are colorful, and,
And Ragnarok.
Guardians is very colorful.
And Ragnarok. Ragnarok also looks
Ragnarok is
fantastic.
beautiful.
Because that
I like
that
the movies
that
that
did
are
what Thor: The Dark World did, and it made it colorful throughout the entire.
Yes, I like vibrant films.
Yeah.
Lots of gray tones make me uncomfortable.
This is again one of the most quotable Marvel movies.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's one.
This is, in my
everywhere.
opinion, besides Avengers, this is the funniest Marvel movie there is.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
one line.
I want to talk about
that's
something.
great.
I did not realize I was going along.
I told him to stop at one point.
Jonah had to shut me up. It got bad.
No,
I was like,
you didn't realize you were doing it.
No, that's the problem.
It was, and the thing is, it wasn't even like a funny line or anything. It was just like a random line that Rocket was saying.
It was when he was drunk.
It was when he was drunk,
That's
but
it.
it was
his drunk
it was after the funny
It was his
line he
drunk
says.
rant.
It was after that is also true. It was after that.
Put
It
that
was
together over and over.
it was that line, and I go, Christian.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, I'm doing it. But yeah, really, really quotable movie.
Yeah,
Um,
for
Because
sure.
this movie is just my humor. It's dry. It's
And
stupid.
it's not even that; it's just good humor,
It's stupid. It's dry. It's fantastic.
and it works perfectly for the movie.
And it is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I love all the different acts of the movie too, where it's like the beginning. It's kind of not really like split into like necessarily acts. We have the first part where it's like setting up all the characters. The middle, which is like the prison and going to nowhere, and then the entire final act with the battle on Xandar, which is one of my favorite final acts in the MCU. Honestly,
Very cool.
It's not like there's literally no like hand-to-hand stuff like there literally just was in Winter Soldier.
Right. Very, very contrasting.
It's all done in spaceships with a whistle arrow and a dance battle.
the dance off, yeah. Which
That's
fits Star Lord to
Star
a T.
Wars.
Star Wars, yep.
Not
Star
a
Wars?
punch is thrown.
I'll talk about
Besides in the prison, there's not probably a punch thrown in this movie. It's all like guns and stuff. There's probably not a punch thrown.
Well,
entirely
there is
besides
when
besides the prison.
Drax is facing up against Ronan.
Besides Drax.
Yeah.
Besides Drax doesn't count.
Gamora doesn't throw any punches. Groot doesn't really throw any punches. Rocket
No.
definitely does it. Star
No,
Lord.
no, Gamora-
Star Lord smacks somebody with his gun.
Gamora
and
doesn't
that's
throw
it.
punches. Gamora just kicks people in the face.
Also, I think one of the because each character kind of has their own individual funniest moment.
It's almost like
I think
yeah.
Gamora. Well, what would you say Gamora's is? Because she's probably
She
she doesn't really have
isn't
one.
funny.
Like, I'll say that her funniest is probably when she said, well, I don't know if this is like funny, it's just how she is with everybody else, but she's just like, I'm gonna die surrounded by the biggest.
That's
idiots in the
probably
galaxy."
hers. Rockets is when he
I
asked for
thought
that
pelvic sorcery
leg.
was really funny.
No,
Pelvic sorcery is good.
I was
Pelvic
just thinking of
sorcery
that
was
one.
really
I was
funny.
just thinking of that one.
Rockets is it's either the leg,
And that was the most real.
the leg, the laugh, or him saying that is also true.
That
Drax's is probably all of like the metaphors he misses. Groot's is just
No,
when he
Groot's-
walks up to that. He walks up to the thing in the prison and just yanks it out
No,
in the background of the shot.
no. For Groot, it's when he does. The,
That's just supposed to be a funny moment. That's like just a Chad moment.
I mean, I guess that's kind of fair. I think that's my favorite Groot moment, and I think what you said was yours too. Where he
My
just
dad's favorite.
sticks the branch through multiple different
Like 10 people.
10 people and just starts smacking people around with it. They're already dead, and he just keeps smacking. Rips them out, turns around, and just smiles. I think my favorite Star-Lord moment is probably that beginning scene where he's just walking through dancing to Come and Get Your Love.
Yeah.
And that song's
That
probably my
or-
favorite
Yeah.
soundtrack.
You big turd blossom. Or no, when he tries to fight the guy with his Walkman.
Yeah.
Who is Darth Vader in
Yeah,
Rogue
he's
One,
Darth
which
Vader.
is
The
so
suit
funny to
actor
me.
for him, yep. I also love the final, shot, because I will admit, Groot's death was very emotional.
You knew it wasn't Denny's
cool.
tree.
That's why I
Tree.
put in quotes. But it was still emotional because it was when he said, "We are Groot," and then afterwards, when you have all four of them, the rest of the remaining Guardians,
Stare straight at the camera.
yeah, but they're harnessing the power of the stone, and that's one of the coolest.
Sick moment.
Yeah, one of the coolest
Sick
moments
moment.
in the MCU for me. That's probably my favorite. One of my favorite moments in this movie. I don't know about favorite, but it's up there. And that's where it's funny because that's how they get their name, which is like so funny. And you brought up a valid point too. When they're fighting at the beginning, you said that it doesn't feel that much different.
Oh
from the
yeah,
Guardians are now.
Gamora's tracking down Star-Lord, and so are Rocket and Groot, and they're like bickering and everything. I'm like, this isn't very different than how they just normally act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also get a cool setup with the fact that Quill isn't exactly human.
Yeah, that kind of sets that
The
up.
only thing they say about his father is that he was
He was just something that they had never seen before. And that's when they could do the X-ray thing.
Yes.
But yeah, and then you see Groot kind of starting to sprout into the smaller tree, and that first post-credit scene is so funny, with him dancing, with Drax looking back, and you just
It's kind of like a mid-credit thing. It's while the credit song is playing.
after it says the Guardians will return, and the second one with the Collector and with Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Because we kind of already
I
talked
would
about.
rather stay till the end of Spider-Man No Way Home for just a preview of Doctor Strange
Preview
than to
of
watch
Doctor
Howard the
Strange,
Duck.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's see what else is there. Oh, the Milana.
That was cool.
One of my
Yeah,
favorite.
probably the sickest.
My
people
favorite ship in Marvel.
Marvel.
Oh, mine's still a Quinjet because I'm counting that as a ship.
I would
that
say like
counts as a ship.
vehicle.
Then I
Vehicles.
go Quinjet or Captain America's Chad bike.
Captain America's bike.
I say the Milano
Heck
just because
yeah.
it's a legit just their home, and it's just a really awesome looking ship. That's one.
Yeah,
It's
it's
one of my
awesome.
favorite Lego sets that I own. But yeah, that's really just a really cool ship. I don't have anything else. I don't think.
There's
And
so
if I
much
forgot
to talk
something,
about.
I'll do like I did in Winter Soldier. Just put it in text up here because we never talked about the post-credit scenes in Winter Soldier.
What's insane about this movie is that I've literally been sitting here like humming and singing the songs from the movie the entire time. I've been singing "Come Get Your Love" for the past 10 minutes.
I thought that's what I'm hearing.
It's
Bangers.
really good. They're all
Bangers.
so good.
Yeah. Because I really don't want to miss anything. But if I miss
We
anything,
fit all the major stuff, I think.
we fill out the major stuff. And I forgot something, I'll either put it in text or I'll record a video separately and just put it in.
Again, movie's straightforward.
Movies,
Like
yeah,
there hasn't been like a complicated storyline of a movie
until like Doctor Strange.
until Doctor. Yeah, that's supposed to be complicated. It's Doctor Strange.
It fits.
Yeah.
So overall,
Yeah. I'll take first crack on this
Okay.
one. I've had a number in my head for like a fat minute.
Me
so
too.
do I.
And every time I think of this film, it is like the number that just comes to, like, just pops in my brain.
I want it to be the same number that I'm thinking of.
I wanted to
Do
do
it.
mine too, but I don't think
Do
it
it.
will be.
I don't give anything that, dude.
Well,
Oh no, I'm not
No.
giving it a 10.
Okay,
No,
I want to say, we'll see,
I'm not-
we'll see.
I'm
no
not giving
I only have 110 left.
Okay.
I have
Too many.
more.
Way too many.
I have two.
You
Way
have
too
too
many.
many.
Way too many tens. No, this movie's great though. Every character is so enjoyable. The chemistry for these characters is just so freaking awesome.
It's
They
very
have
Guardians of the
great
Galaxy.
chemistry, and every single thing that they're in is great. Yeah, I love this movie. I love the plot. I think it's great. The villain's solid. It sets up a lot for the future of the universe, and it's a very sick movie. I'm gonna give this one a 9.4.
I'm gonna go next because that was literally the number that I had in my mind. It was 9.
It's the perfect number for this movie.
It was 9.4 was the perfect number for this movie.
Can I go ahead and say mine because 9's really close?
Yeah.
I was gonna say 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah, what really makes this movie work is one, the soundtrack, and two, the chemistry between all of the actors.
Yeah.
And everything.
Right.
The chemistry between the actors and the characters just
Even
really sell it.
though Bradley Cooper wasn't there with them, he probably was there on on set.
Yeah.
But he'd recorded all of his voice lines.
Mm-hmm.
But the chemistry between all the actors is very, very good, and you can tell. And now that you think about it, there's only 3 actual actors there filming scenes. Like
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a 9.5 for me. That number's been in my head for years.
Oh no, I had a 9.4 in my head since we started the movie.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's funny.
Good number.
Just makes
The
sense.
villain not being the best, honestly, is what holds it down more than anything else. But the villain's still good. He just could have been better. But great cast, not just great soundtrack, perfect soundtrack. And one of the most fun and, again, rewatchable movies. Like, between this and Winter Soldier, just back-to-back rewatchable movies that I've lost track of how many times I've watched it. So,
Show.
great movie. And it really showed that Marvel has the capacity to introduce a bunch of random characters that nobody cares for. And make them... This movie made the
Yeah, I
Guardians
wish they could still do that now.
Yeah, it's hit or miss now. But this movie made the Guardians as popular as the Avengers.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
no, this-
Age of
incredibly
Ultron came
impressive.
out.
I think I said this at the end of Winter Soldier when we were kind of talking about doing this film. I think this one brought in probably a large majority of the MCU fan base.
Yeah.
This movie was just
Because people were like, "Oh,
It's
Chris
appealing.
Pratt."
it's appealing. Ha ha, funny. People like that.
And
So
it's a
it was
movie that
appealing,
handled
and they brought
comedy
it in.
well.
Yeah.
This
Unlike
is-
most
yeah.
of the modern ones.
Yeah.
This movie is what Eternals tried to be and failed.
Yeah, I wish they could have made me like the Eternals. That would have been cool.
Anyways, that's going to do it for Guardians of the Galaxy. Be sure to stay tuned next time where we go back to another sequel with a really, I'll say an underrated, not super underrated, but I'll say slightly underrated movie. Or rather overhated, I guess, with Age of Ultron.
I don't think it's overhated. I don't think a lot
it's
of people
hated.
hate.
No, that's why I put overhated. It just doesn't get as much appreciation as it should.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
that
Clearly is
that
what it
suffers from
adore Age of Ultron.
Such a great
that movie suffers from the fact that the other 3 Avengers movies are what they are, and I don't think this movie is appreciated.
I think I've
enough.
seen Age of Ultron more than any other Avengers film, and that's kind of insane.
Oh, I've seen Age of Ultron the second most out of all the Avengers movies. Yeah, absolutely. Not even close.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
It's great.
It's
I
been
love it.
fantastic.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
I'm actually really excited for that one too. But yes, that's gonna do it. Be sure to stay tuned for Age of Ultron, and then we do Ant-Man, and then we do our ranking of Phase 2, which,
Bangers.
which I think we've
Bangers.
already discussed what our ranking is gonna be.
I think it's
We'll have to wait till we rewatch Ant-Man too. So we'll have to.
Slant Man.
Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, we're gonna wait on that. But thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all later, Whipheads. I'm gonna do a zoom in on that.
No.